Welcome to Payoff Pitch Action Network's Major League Baseball betting podcast. It is Friday, July 11th, and we are here to break down all of the best bets for the 16-game MLB slate today. I believe it's 16. The White Sox and Guardians have a doubleheader going on this afternoon. Everything else taking place under the lights. I'm Collin Whitchurch of Action Network, joined today by Derek Carty and Jim Turvey of Roto Grinders, as we're going to go through all 16 games. Well, that's an exaggeration. We're not going to go through all 16 games, but we do have, as I count down our rundown here, 15 bets to give out for you this afternoon. So let's get right into it. No time for banter, no time for preamble. Let's get right into our best bets for Friday. Derek, we're going to start with you. Drew Rasmussen has been sterling for the Rays all season. They're now starting to manage his workload a bit, though, in his first full season back from injury. His career high in innings is 146. The Rays have said they're going to likely tandem him with Joe Boyle or something like that down the stretch as they limit his innings to around the 150 mark. Derek, you're on two Rasmussen props today. I'm wondering if his projected limited workload plays a role in your handicap against the Red Sox tonight.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Like you said, they're going to be limiting his workload. He came back from injury last year. They kind of kept him on a very short leash, like a 2-inning kind of leash. Moved him back as a regular starter this year, but they said, okay, he's coming up on his innings cap. We also probably want him for the playoffs. We're gonna kind of roll him back here a little bit. What I'm expecting is kind of what they did last year with him, which is basically like 2 innings and then he's done, and then Joe Boyle comes in, which is what they did last start with him. So with that, I'm looking at Drew Rasmussen under 2.5 hits. Minus 115 is the best odds as of this recording. It has been moving all day. You could get it at good plus money a couple hours ago, and it keeps moving, but it's definitely good. I'll take it a little further than that even. And then his under half an earned run at plus 140 is out there right now at a couple books, MGM, Hard Rock, I think. A lot of books have the 1.5, which I don't like as much, but if you can get the under half a run at 140, I like that quite a bit. Rasmussen's a really good pitcher. So it's not like, they're scaling him back for performance reasons or anything. He's really good, and he's not going to pitch very long. The matchup is a little tough, but at the odds we're getting it at, I will definitely take this.
My favorite fact about this MLB season that surprises people sometimes is that the Rays actually, at least last time I looked, lead the league in innings pitched out of their starters, or innings pitched per start out of their starters. And this is from the organization that, popularized the opener and popularized the bullpen game. Nice. But going back to it a little bit here with Rasmussen down the stretch, really like that bet. I'll jump right over to my best bet, which is a much more square play. Sometimes it's hip to be square. That's where I'm going tonight with my best bet in Reds Rockies, when I'm going to be betting on one of my favorite pitchers in baseball. That is Chase Burns. If you don't follow the minor leagues or don't follow prospects, you might not be as familiar with Burns. You might see his 8.10 ERA through 3 starts and just assume he's another struggling young pitcher in the Cincy rotation. But this is the best pitching prospect in baseball, and he has ace-level potential. It's tough not to be hyperbolic about Burns. But if we're rating pitching prospects on like the Skeens scale, let's say, he comes in like one notch below Paul Skeens, in my opinion. That's how good he is. Like, if Paul Skeens is your top of the top, like debuting pitching prospect, Chase Burns is one level below that. Just one level, in my opinion. That's how good he is. He has frontline number 1 starter potential. He struggled a little bit, as I mentioned, in these 3 starts, primarily with his command. He's walked 6 in his last 2 outings, and that includes a blow-up in Boston, where he only lasted 1 out. Got dinked around a lot. He walked guys, obviously, but he was not giving up a ton of hard contact in that game. So it wasn't, like, super alarming for me. And regardless of that, in these 3 starts, he's still missing bats at an elite level. He has 15 strikeouts, again, in these 3 starts, despite that Boston start where he didn't strike out anyone, only lasted 1 out. He had 12 swinging strikes in 91 pitches last time out against Philly, 9 and 81 in his debut against the Yankees. And that's another thing. I've mentioned Burns' 3 starts. They've come against the Yankees, Red Sox, and Phillies. That's 3 of the best offenses in baseball, or 3 top offenses at least. Today he faces the Rockies. Burns' strikeout rate is an elite 30.6% despite that high ERA. And projections about how his stuff is make it easy to believe that that's legit. His strikeout prop tonight, there were some sharp bettors overnight that got it at 5.5. The over, it's at 6.5 right now, but the over's around plus 100, so you're getting plus money on that. I love that. I actually would consider laddering this against Colorado, their swing happy ways. If you can, I could very easily see a 10 strikeout performance out of Burns tonight. Over 6.5 is my best bet, but if you want to look at opportunities to ladder, I would do that as well. On to our third best bet from Jim Turvey. We're going to wrap it up with you, Jim, because your best bet transitions nicely into our underdog section. You are on Dodgers Giants tonight in a couple of different ways. Talk us through your play on their total first, and then we'll jump right into your favorite underdog, which also centers around this game, which matches up the enigmatic Dustin May against arguably the most underrated starting pitcher in baseball, in my opinion, in Logan Webb.
Yeah, looking at the Dodgers and Giants under 7.5 here. I feel like I shout out Andrew Connor Watts every time I'm on the pod here. I'll shout him out again. He came to me with this stat recently. We've been loving this. Is these Oracle night games. So since 2005, this is a 5% ROI. Last 3 seasons, it's been a 24% ROI. So it makes sense in that cold Bay weather. You get the wind blowing in there, and the unders have really the books haven't quite adjusted enough. So really like this from a trends perspective, but also kind of zooming out and looking at the pitching matchup. I think there's a lot to like here as well. Dustin May, you call him enigmatic, definitely enigmatic. He's doing great against the Giants in his career. Now it's a very small sample, but he's got 2.38 ERA against the Giants and in Oracle Park. Now we're even smaller sample, but it's a 1.59 ERA overall. We're heading into the All-Star break, so both bullpens, fresh off a pair of off days on Thursday, can really go, super heavy, best arms. This is obviously a rivalry series. Both teams, Dodgers have been a little cold lately, looking to get right here before we head into the break. Logan Webb, as you mentioned, one of the most underrated pitchers. To be honest, it's the part I'm most nervous about with the under, because ironically, he has struggled against the Dodgers in his career a little bit for Logan Webb's very high standards. This is a pitcher with I feel like a 2.8 career ERA, something in that range. He's around 4 against the Dodgers in his career, but he's very not prone to blow ups though. So that's why I don't really mind this. Like if we get 5 innings, 2 earned, 6 innings, 3 earned, those are around that 4 ERA, but that's far from a kill shot for an over for this game. You've got the bullpen of San Francisco that you and I have talked about in the past. Our guy Randy Rodriguez there, elite bullpen from the Giants. The Dodgers are scary. They're the number 1 team towards the over this season. But I think between the pitching matchup that we have, the Oracle at night of it all, heading into the All-Star break with fresh bullpens, I still like the under 7.5 here.
And your underdog is related to this game as well, correct? We should actually call this it's the underdog section normally. It's the plus money section is what it really is, because some of us are taking underdogs straight up money line, and like Derek, when we get to him, has some plus money dinger props to get to us. But your underdog today is a strict underdog play in this matchup.
Going old-fashioned money line, plus money, Dodgers. How often do we get the Dodgers at plus money? Well, I can tell you, I looked it up. We've gotten them. Actually, let me quiz you guys. You want to try and guess how many times the Dodgers have been an underdog this season, just plus money at all? So I'd not I guess a minus 102, technically you're an underdog, but I'm saying how many times have they been plus money this season?
On the money line, I'll say, let's see, who would they be plus money against? Maybe on the road against the Phillies when they're facing Zach Wheeler or something. I'll say 3 times.
It's got to be less than 5. Yeah, 3 is probably a good guess.
I was shocked. It's 10 times. That was higher than I thought as well. I was pretty surprised. I guess that they have been rotating. Their starting rotation has been a little funky at times. So I think maybe with starting pitching matchups that really get weighted and on the road. They're 5-5 in those 10 games. So that's obviously, if you're doing it at plus money, you're going to be up. And I looked at plus 110 or longer, because they're plus 110 right now. They're 3-2. So we're getting really noisy. And if we're going down to 5 game samples, but I do think that grabbing the Dodgers at plus money is never a bad thing. Tying a little bit of my Logan Webb skepticism, that was, the one thing I was scared about with the under. I even like targeting the first 5. The first 5 you can get at plus 120. I think I like that maybe even a little bit more here, because you get the Logan Webb a little bit of worry with the Dustin May, who's been excellent against the Giants. And then the Dodger bullpen is a little shaky at times, whereas the Giants bullpen is outstanding. So I think you could play it either way. I like the first 5 at plus 120. I think I like most, but I'll be looking at the Dodgers. It's rare that we get to bet on the Dodgers at plus money. So I'm jumping on that. And I think I'll hyper target the first 5 there.
Derek, we'll go to you next. As I teased to a little bit, alluded to, the people love their dinger props. They love it when Grant hops on the show to give out his dingers. They love it when you come on and give out your dingers. They love it when they come from anyone. The last time the 3 of us appeared on a podcast together, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we all faded Tarek Skubal together. It didn't go well. It came close to going well. I was like messaging Turvey during the game because like I think it was Tigers Cubs, if I recall, and the first 5 money line, Matt Shaw committed an error with 2 outs in the 5th inning, and the inning unraveled from there. The Cubs were winning. They were no longer winning. We lost our Skubal fade. But tonight, Derek's going back to a Skubal game. Skubal starting again tonight, but he's staying away from Skubal. He's instead going with the Tigers offense against Seattle's Luis Castillo. You're betting 2 Tigers hitters and their home run props tonight.
Yes, I'm looking at Parker Meadows at around plus 1,000 and Riley Green plus 525. I think are the best lines out there as of this recording. They're giving us good odds on this. It's solid hitting weather, and Luis Castillo, I feel like at this point is more name value than actual substance. Like he used to be one of the best pitchers in all of baseball, and he's just not anymore. You look, even though he has a 3.31 ERA, you look under the hood, he's above average. He's not even necessarily good anymore. His strikeout rate is down to 7.5. His stuff plus is below average for the first time in his career. It's gone down 4 years in a row. His velocity's down. You look at his xFIP, his Sierra, that kind of thing. It's more like 4.25 as opposed to like the 3.25 his actual ERA is. Kind of a fly ball guy to begin with. So I think when you pair that together, you can see why the books are giving us some good odds here. So I will take both of these guys.
I'll wrap up the underdog segment with my favorite play, and it's simple. It's Cubs money line tonight against the Yankees. Chicago's going with a bullpen game tonight against Carlos Rodon, and Rodon's a pitcher I've been looking to fade over the last couple times through the rotation. His last 6 starts have looked a lot different from his start to the season. 32 innings over those 6 starts. He's walked 13 against just 29 strikeouts and has a 5.34 ERA during that span. The advanced numbers kind of back up that ERA. That's kind of what he's pitched like. And when a pitcher like Rodon's striking out less than a batter per inning, it's kind of alarming. His last time out against the Mets, he labored through 5 innings, and Aaron Boone and Rodon basically admitted after the game that he was gassed while pitching in the New York humidity. Well, guess what? It's summer in New York. It's hot. It's going to be humid all year. Obviously, that last start was an afternoon game tonight. It'll be at night, but it's going to be humid and it's going to be hot all summer. And if Rodon's conditioning is maybe in question, I know that was a question about him a lot early in his career was his conditioning. He's going to be facing a very, very good offense tonight in the Cubs, who mash against both sides of the plate. They're a little bit better against right-handed pitching, but it's not to an alarming degree to where I'm worried about like platoon matchups or anything like that. As I mentioned, it's a bullpen game for Chicago, but their bullpen is rested. Colin Ray gave them very needed length yesterday against the Twins. So basically everyone should be available today. I think Brad Keller threw 20 pitches. That would be the only guy going on a notable back-to-back. Palencia, their closer, threw 12 pitches as well. But everyone else should be available. Chris Flexen starting this game. Former Action Network betting legend Chris Flexen, I should mention. I think it was like 4 years ago. He was the most profitable pitcher to bet on in baseball back when he was starting in Seattle. So got to throw out a shout out to Chris Flexen here. He's a bullpen guy now. We'll probably see about 2 innings of him. We could get a heavy dose of Jordan Wicks in the Cubs bullpen tonight. Regardless, I'm going to trust Craig Counsell here to pull the right strings in a situation like this. And I just straight up don't trust Rodon. These are 2 strong offenses, but I'll fade the scuffling starting pitcher and bet the Cubs around plus 150 tonight. All right, let's get into our final plays of the slate. Derek, I'm going to throw it to you first. You have 4 plays 4-hitter plays, a couple more dingers. We've got a hitter walk prop, 3 home runs. So give us a rundown of the 4 final bets that you have on today's card.
Yeah, we'll start with the walk prop. Josh Naylor to draw a walk over half a walk plus 270 is the best line out there right now. This is a guy that I just feel like the books, for whatever reason, don't price correctly. He's not like a monster walk guy, but he's a guy who can draw a walk. He's a dangerous enough threat where pitchers will pitch around him sometimes. I was looking at my tracking record. I've bet him about a dozen times over the last month or two. 24.5% ROI on those plays when it projects similarly to how it's projecting today. So I'm feeling good about Naylor. Then I have 3 more home run calls. I won't go into too much detail on all of them, but looking at Cooper Hummel for a home run at plus 1,300, Jorge Polanco at plus 950, and Kyle Manzardo at plus 500.
I love that you have Polanco in there. We did find a way to bet against Scooble today. Although we could hit a homer off the bullpen if Scooble ever comes out of the game. My final bet of the night is going to come from Sacramento, where I'm betting the over in Athletics Blue Jays. It's Luis Severino versus Max Scherzer. Once upon a time, a pretty exciting pitching matchup. Tonight in this specific spot and in this specific stadium, it is Fade City. Sean Zerillo and I talked at length about the issues with the stadium in Sacramento on Tuesday's episode of Payoff Pitch. But I'll just reiterate that Severino, the A's prized offseason signing, is quite literally at war with his front office right now and the A's ownership group over the conditions that have led to him posting an unsightly 7.04 ERA at home this season. The Scherzer side of the cap is a little bit more vibes based, I'm going to be honest, because even at his peak, you could probably describe Scherzer as one of the more prickly starting pitchers in baseball. Kind of a red ass, he's got that dog in him. So I could very well see these mound issues in Sacramento wreaking havoc on him tonight. And even if that's not the case, these are 2 offenses worth buying. The Blue Jays are obviously scorching hot. The A's have a ton of home run potential against Scherzer, who, again, even during his prime, his one bugaboo was he gave up the long ball. I think this total hits 11 if it hasn't already. At the time I wrote down these notes, it was 10.5. These Sacramento totals are getting to 11 at a pretty regular basis. So I'm jumping on A's Jays over 10.5. And to wrap us up, we'll go back to Jim Turvey. We started our best bets with Tampa and a Drew Rasmussen props. We'll go back to Tampa for Jim, who has a Moneyline play and another player prop.
Yeah, kind of like combining all of this into a little same game parlay, because I love the look Derek had there as well. Yeah, I'm going to be on the Rays Moneyline here. It's around minus 110, minus 105 out there. They've been excellent in their games with the opener. Now, Rasmussen's not quite the standard opener, but, he is kind of he's going to be in that kind of role where, he's going to be in front of Boyle. It's same handedness. So it's not, again, there's a little noise here. And I tried to turn to our AI overlords to get the exacts on what the Rays record was in games with an opener. They didn't have the exacts. The AI tools aren't quite what we need them to be just yet. But overall, they did have some exacts from the first couple seasons, and kind of, rough estimates since. And it's been very good. The Rays have been very good whenever they've implemented these strategies, and it makes sense. The Rays are a cutting edge team that really is good at using the strategies that they kind of created. And like you said, they've actually used a lot of starting pitcher innings this season because that's their strength. They know when to lean into strengths and when not to. This is a great time to set Joe Boyle up for success here. I think he's been great in his 2 starts for the Rays, one coming back all the way in, I think, April, and then one coming recently, his last time out. Hasn't allowed to run, only allowed 2 hits over those 2 starts, 14 strikeouts. It's a really hot Red Sox offense. I think we're kind of all aware that the best offense in baseball last 14 days. If you stretch that sample, get a little bit bigger sample, last month, the Rays are the second best offense in baseball and better than the Red Sox. So they're also a top 5 team in baseball against teams over 500. They're also a great team on the road. The Rays have the second best road record in baseball this season. Hunter Dobbins on the other side of things. I think he's kind of just he's a guy. He's a dude, right? He's very, if you were to project a league average pitcher, it's Hunter Dom. He's not terrible, but I think the combination of Rasmussen and Boyle is better on the Rays side of things. I think the Rays have the better bullpen, and they don't really mind playing on the road, like I said. So I like the Rays money line, and now I like sprinkling a little Chandler Simpson in there. He's been great of late. He's riding a 9-game hitting streak. He's gotten a hit in 14 of his last 15 games. But what I really like targeting is him to get a single. Seems like the books aren't pricing in just how much of a dink and dunk guy he is. So over that 15-game stretch where he's hitting 392 in his last 15 games, he's got 20 hits, 18 of those are singles. But if you look at the books, the hit prop to get a hit versus to get a single is a pretty notable gap. So you can get to hit a single at like minus 140, minus 145, I think was the best number there. Throw that in with the Rays money line, you get to plus 200. Which is, I think, a fun little same game parlay. If you're feeling aggressive, you can toss a steal in there, get to like 425. But the Red Sox actually have a pretty good team at slowing down the run. So I think I'll sprinkle in the Chandler Simpson single, the Rays money line. If you want to throw in maybe a Rasmussen under in there, you probably get out to like plus 400 or 500. So just Rays in general, I think it's a good way to be on them today in what should be a fun game.
Yeah, if you want to same game parlay Jim's 2 bets, which are Rays money line and Chandler Simpson single, and Derek's 2 bets on Rasmussen, under half of an earned run, under 2.5 hits allowed, that is plus 800 at DraftKings. If you want to throw in a Simpson stolen base, which in my opinion you can't bet a Simpson to get on base without betting him to steal a base, throw that in there. It's plus 1,500 on an SGP. So.
And the single works nicely with the steal because, like, if he gets a double, the steal is a lot less likely. The single is what's going to set him up for the steal. So
the only concern would be him hitting a single with a guy on first.
The
guy doesn't get to third base. Fastest guy in baseball, Chandler Simpson. But that's it. That's 16 bets on 15 games for us here on Payoff Pitch, and that will do it for today's episode. Thank you for tuning in. If you'd like to tail some of the bets from today's episode, look for the Quick Slip link in the episode description. Don't forget to download the free award-winning Action Network app and leave us that 5-star rating and review wherever you listen to the podcast. Also check out the Action Network Discord. There's a link in the episode description of this podcast. We'll be back on Monday with another episode of Payoff Pitch. As a reminder, it is the All-Star break. We will have Home Run Derby breakdown on Monday. We'll have a podcast. We will have a live show on the Action Network YouTube channel. Tuesday, Sean Zerillo and I will be back to break down the All-Star game itself. We'll have props. We'll have totals. We'll have money line. All that jazz. For Derek Carty and Jim Turvey, I'm Collin Whitchurch. Thanks for listening to Payoff Pitch, Action Network's MLB betting podcast. Enjoy your weekend and good luck on all your bets.